In the river town near Kamakura, one name was synonymous with perfection: OU. Her beauty was the talk of the town, a delicate masterpiece that captivated everyone. But beneath the flawless surface, this beauty was a lie, meticulously crafted from a web of deceit. OU couldn't stand anything ordinary. She wove elaborate tales about her noble lineage, exaggerated the value of every gift she received, and feigned a deep devotion to Buddhism, all for a single, intoxicating drug: admiration. She married Kenji, a carpenter whose hands were as skilled as his pockets were empty. In her own way, OU did love him. She even swore to her servant that she would cherish Kenji forever, but in the secrecy of her heart she made another vow, a colder one. She would use Kenji's talent to build a fortune, and then she would trade up, leaving him and his humble life behind for the world of luxury she truly craved. This false vow, born from the depths of her arrogance, was not unheard. It stirred something ancient, a dormant force waiting for such a perfect vessel of vanity. The consequences were swift. Just weeks after their wedding, OU's nights became a living hell. She was tormented by nightmares of an invisible rope tightening around her throat, a phantom strangulation that left her waking with agonizing pains in her neck. The curse had taken root. Her soul, poisoned by lies, was beginning to manifest its own punishment. Then came the first night of the scorching summer. A strange, subtle sound pulled Kenji from his sleep. He turned to look at his wife. OU was still, lost in what seemed to be a deep slumber, but her face was a mask of pure terror. And then Kenji saw it. Her body remained motionless, but from her neck, something like a thin, taut rope began to stretch, slowly and unnervingly. The sound was a horrifying, quiet scrape of skin and sinew and joints being pulled beyond their limits. Her neck elongated, and elongated further, until OU's beautiful head floated impossibly in the air, detached from her torso like an apple on a grotesque, distorted stem. The head hovered there, its eyes wide and vacant, completely empty of the woman Kenji knew. This was not his wife. This was the punishment that had possessed her body. This was the Rokurokubi. Drawn by the flickering light of a paper lantern Kenji had hung outside, the disembodied head drifted out into the night. It didn't hunt for blood or life. It hunted for something else: envy. It flew silently towards the wealthy quarters of the town, a ghostly spectator. It hovered outside the windows of noble women's homes, peering into opulent beauty parlors, its vacant eyes craving the luxury and status it had always desired. With a long, slender tongue, it would lick the ink from wedding invitations, love letters, and property deeds, a bizarre ritual to absorb the vanity and good fortune of others. The next morning, as the sun rose, the neck retracted and the head returned to its body. OU awoke with no memory of her nightly voyage, but she felt strangely full. It was as if she had feasted on a banquet of secrets and lies. Her mind was suddenly sharp, filled with intimate knowledge about her friends and neighbors, details she couldn't possibly know. She used this newfound information to enhance her deception, her lies becoming more convincing, more intricate, more perfect than ever before. Her curse was feeding her obsession, but Kenji had seen everything. He had lain awake all night, his heart torn between love for the woman who woke beside him and terror of the monster she became at night. He could have fled. No one would have blamed him. But he didn't. He loved his wife, and he pitied the creature born of her pain. He decided to fight. He began secretly poring over ancient scrolls, delving into the forgotten lore of yokai. He searched for answers, for a cure, for anything that could save OU. Finally, he found it. The Rokurokubi had a critical weakness. If its body were to be moved while the head was detached and flying, the neck could never retract. The head, severed from its physical anchor, would become a soulless specter and eventually perish. That night, Kenji waited. He watched as OU's breathing changed, as the terrible stretching began once more. Armed with a knife and a heavy heart, he stood beside his wife's immobile body, a sentinel guarding a cursed treasure. Hours passed. Just before dawn, the Rokurokubi head floated back towards the house, preparing to rejoin its body and end its nightly pilgrimage of envy. As it hovered at the window, Kenji spoke. His voice was a whisper, but it carried the weight of his resolve and his pain. "Oh, you," he said, speaking not to his wife, but to the entity before him. "I know you are the karma. I know you have ruined the woman I love, but I swore an oath to protect her. You are a part of her now, and I accept that." He raised the knife, not as a threat to the head, but as a promise to the body. "But if you ever try to leave this house again, I will move her body, and you will die forever." The Rokurokubi head stared back at Kenji, its eyes cold and empty, yet possessing the chilling intelligence of retribution itself. It couldn't speak, but it understood. It saw that Kenji wasn't afraid of dying at its hands. He was afraid of the finality of this curse, of losing OU completely. The head let out a small, pained hiss, a sound of defeat and comprehension. And then the long, grotesque neck retracted back into the body. The compact was made. From that night on, OU and Kenji's life became a ghastly pact. By day, OU continued her performance as the perfect wife. Her lies were now unassailable, fortified by the secrets her other self gleaned from licking lamp oil and listening to the town's whispers from within their four walls. She became the most convincingly deceitful person in Kamakura, achieving a twisted version of the perfection she always craved. And by night the neck would still elongate, but the Rokurokubi head never again dared to leave the house. It was a prisoner. It would hover near the ceiling, a silent, lonely spectator watching Kenji as he worked late into the night, its existence confined to the very humble home it so despised. OU's curse was not death. It was an eternal, living captivity. She was trapped in an irreconcilable double life. The price of her vanity wasn't a swift end, but the endless separation of her soul from herself, her flying head a symbol of her ambition, and her captured body a monument to her lies. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy tales of folklore and the darker side of human nature, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories from the shadows. We'll see you next time.